Hey guys, and welcome to the Unreliable Studios podcast number 5452.
Or
Um,
four in Earth years.
or four, yes. I'm Pedro, and you just heard Josh.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about the PlayStation 4 little Sony conference that just happened a few days ago. So how'd you want to start it off, Josh? Did you just want to let's just dive right in, talk about the new system that we didn't even get a
See?
chance to see?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Yeah. As far as our hardware goes, and we didn't see anything as like the box itself, but we got a lot of information about the insides. Um, it's still gonna have Blu-ray. I'm still gonna do Bluetooth. The biggest thing is they're switching from the cell processor. What are they using now?
Now they're going to be using an AMD Jaguar 8-core CPU. And it's interesting that you mentioned that they're not going to be doing the cell processor anymore because that was one of the things that really killed the PlayStation 3. Sure, the cell was powerful and uh, an incredible feat of engineering. It's just that it was apparently incredibly difficult to develop games for. And that's why we have a switch from the cell to an AMD x86 architecture in the CPU. So basically, this is almost a computer chip. This is straight up, a CPU from a desktop computer, which is should mean that developers would have a much easier time creating and porting games from the computer to the PlayStation 4. So
Yeah.
that should be pretty exciting.
And it'll be easier for developers to kind of do their own thing on the system too, because I know that cell processors not very easy to work with.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think switching to a normal CPU and it's just going to be easier for everybody.
It's a pretty big deal. And to accompany that, you got an AMD Radeon GPU. Supposedly, this thing can put out 2 teraflops of God knows what. It's supposed to be incredibly powerful. 8 gigs of RAM, which is an incredible number.
And
The
it's DDR5. It's
Yeah,
not the DDR3 I'm using on my computer right now, so it's even an improvement from that.
yeah, GDDR5, something that's dedicated to usually the high end graphics card. Graphics card that cost $400 and up. Every PS4 will ship with a hard drive, which is nice. The Xbox 360 kind of shot themselves in the foot when they made that an option. So now developers know they have a hard drive, and if they want, they can make it so that their games require an install that you wouldn't have to, and you wouldn't have to worry about whether your customers have that capability.
Yeah, and that's the install thing, something that Sony's been doing for a while, and they've gotten a little flack for doing that on some games that require a 7 or 8 gig install that can take anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour to start. But
Yeah, and
I mean,
that
hard drives
is
have gotten faster in the past few years, though.
the fact that they've gotten faster. Is interesting, but Sony also came out with another way to get around that install time, which we'll talk about a little bit further down in the podcast. But then you also have Wi-Fi, which is great. You know that every system comes with Wi-Fi. It's going to be compatible with BG and N, the new, well, not the latest wireless technology, but it's something that's relatively quick. And of course, HDMI.
Yeah, I'm guessing the back of the PlayStation 4 is going to look very similar to the PS3 as far as having the Ethernet, HDMI, normal analog video out, and then the optical port.
Yeah, and you also got USB 3.0, which is pretty exciting.
Did they say how many of those we're going to get, or is it just going to be two again? Because
Uh,
two honestly just isn't enough.
Hopefully they'll have like 16 or something
That would be good.
excessive.
Because if you have a PlayStation Eye connected right now, you're having the amount of USBs you have available.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, I can have my eye connected and I can also charge one of my controllers, but that's it.
Yep.
Speaking of
Speaking of controllers,
controllers, hey, that was an accidental segue. That was perfect. I liked it. The DualShock 4. It's gonna come with a touch-sensitive little pad, which should be exciting to play some Angry Bird or cut the rope on your PlayStation 4. Yay! It's gonna be awesome. And then it also has it has a light bar, kind of like the PlayStation Move has that light orb. This has a little bar that changes colors, and they were talking about developers able to use that LED to change colors when you get healed or when you get damage inflicted upon or your health is low. Um, but mainly it's going to be used with the new PlayStation Eye camera that's coming out, so that it recognizes the position of the controller, and they're going to be able to do some things with that. Not only that, but they also have new buttons on the controller. You don't you don't have a start and select that got axed. You have a new share and option buttons, which is interesting. Do you want to talk a little bit more about the share button?
yeah, from what I understand, the share button's going to be a way for you to broadcast your playing to other people. Um, so that'd be pretty interesting. I mean, just being able to record and upload video straight from the PlayStation 4 is going to be pretty cool. And then you're also going to have the ability to, if you want somebody to join your game to take over your character for you, if you're having a hard time, they can jump into your game and take over your controller basically. And that's all broadcasting with the share button.
Which is
Um,
pretty awesome.
yeah, I mean, I can see where it'd be kind of weird to have somebody else controlling your character, but I mean, seeing something crazy in the game and then recording it and uploading it all from one console, not having to worry about a PVR or anything like that, would be pretty awesome.
Agreed, yeah. And then it's interesting because apparently they're not partnering up with YouTube or Twitch TV. They're partnering up with Ustream
Yeah,
in posting this video. And it's unusual because most people use YouTube or Twitch. So I don't know if this means that Microsoft has some kind of exclusivity deal with those partners, or if Ustream and Sony came out with some kind of crazy contract where they both greatly benefit from this deal.
yeah, and I mean, I think as long as they offer the ability to download your uploaded videos to your computer, if you want to edit or if you want to do voiceover, something like that, then I think I'll be fine with it.
Yeah, because I guess
Um,
then theoretically you could just upload it from to YouTube from
yeah,
there. So that could
exactly.
that's a good
Or
point.
if they even integrate some sort of um, file editing software on to the PlayStation 4 itself. I mean, you can plug up a headset or a microphone to the system for sure and just record your audio and then just upload it to YouTube from there. They're trying to make this thing as focused as they can as far as getting everything all in one box instead of having to worry about a PC and a PS3 and an Xbox and everything. They just want it all in one.
Yeah, and going with that all-in-one entertainment hub, this thing is obviously going to work with Netflix, Amazon. What's their service called again?
Uh, the Amazon On Demand,
On
or
demand. Thank you. Yeah. And then of course it's going to have Hulu Plus.
and that's, I mean, everybody uses at least one of those things nowadays.
Yeah, so it's important to have that. What is unusual is that this system will not be backwards compatible with anything else. It's not
Yeah,
going to work with PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 games, nor would it work with PS3 games, which it's a big bummer. They were talking about uh, making these games work over streaming down in the future, but when this system launch, you will not be able to play your PlayStation 1, 2, or 3 games um, unless if you have a PlayStation 3.
yeah. And the only thing that worries about me about that is like not everybody's got the bandwidth to do that, you know? Um I mean, if you've got the best internet you could possibly get, but you're out in the country somewhere and it's really not that great. If you've ever tried to watch a Hulu HD or YouTube in HD, I can't imagine trying to stream a PlayStation 3 game on that internet.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic because, like you're saying, not everybody has the bandwidth to be taking advantage of all the streaming, and that's one of the things Sony was really driving home was that this system, thanks to their acquisition of Gaikai, a streaming company, they're going to be able to stream PlayStation 4 games. Like, you put in your PlayStation 4 disc, and if there's an update or if there's an install, the system can do that update, do that install in the background,
While
and
you're streaming the
yeah,
game.
while you're streaming that game. If you buy the game digitally on the PlayStation Network, you can play it from the moment that you hit buy, because it's just streaming and then it's downloading in the background. Which is this is all really cool stuff. But yeah, if you don't have the bandwidth to support this, then it's all pointless.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened to OnLive. Um, they used to exist, from what I understand, and they did this exact same thing where it was just a streaming service to a box in your living room that you connected a controller to.
Yeah, OnLive had some difficulties. Basically, the company went bankrupt, and then another company purchased them, and then the OnLive team kicked out the creator of OnLive because apparently he was a control freak and didn't really know what he wanted. So yeah, they still exist, but they're under life support.
Yeah, I guess that service was just a problem with the staffing more than I guess the internet problems they run into as far as not being able to stream the games.
Yeah, definitely. And then some other interesting news on the software side of the system. It'll be able to support 4K resolution, but just for movies and photos, not for game. Which, I
Yeah,
mean, theoretically, the 4K televisions that premiered at CES this past January are still well beyond our um, pay level.
yeah.
Because these things are, in the 20 grand level.
How many Blu-ray discs do you think one 4K movie would have to fit on?
Honestly, I don't know. I'd imagine, because I mean, that's another thing. The PlayStation 4 can support 100 gigabyte Blu-ray disc,
Okay,
so theoretically you can fit
I
it in
guess.
one. I'd imagine you'd
Yeah,
be able to fit it in one, but it's all pointless unless you have a television that's able to output in 4K
in 4K.
resolution,
Yeah,
which I'd imagine will happen in 5 years. I'm sure that within the 5 years we'll have televisions at 4K resolutions that are affordable for the average Joe like you and I to purchase and use and consume.
yeah.
Um, but
I've
not
honestly never seen a movie in 4K, so I don't know how much better they look.
neither have I. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the IMAX movies are either 2K maybe, so I
Yeah,
guess those are halfway there, and those look amazing.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, developers will not be developing any games in that 4K resolution. And speaking of developers, there's going to be a lot of them apparently developing for the PlayStation 4. Over 150 developers and publishers from your EA, Activision, Ubisoft to your smaller guys like 17-bit and
I'm sure that game company will jump into.
yeah, that game company and
And Sony, I mean, Sony's done a real good job the past couple of years, getting in on the indie stuff. Probably not as good as Microsoft's indie files on the 360 as far as Xbox Live goes,
yeah,
but the PS3 has definitely come a long way.
it's crazy because when Microsoft first came out with Xbox Live Arcade, that was a huge. I thought that was a huge success. I mean, I buy Xbox Live Arcade games all the time,
Yeah,
but they're not really putting their marketing muscle behind it anymore. So
yeah,
it's good to see that Sony's picking up Microsoft slack. And
yeah. And I think with the Vita, having that smaller price point and more accessibility is just making it easier for indie developers to jump into the PlayStation.
most definitely. And yeah, they were talking about games for the PlayStation 4 can be priced anywhere from 99 cents all the way up to $60. So they are definitely embracing that indie indie market.
Yeah, and I mean most of these 99-cent games are going to be what we come to expect out of the PlayStation 3 or iOS, mobile gaming, stuff like that.
Well, I mean, you never
Um,
know. They can come out with a dollar game from a reputable indie developer, and then they can come out with little things, little hats that you can buy for your
yeah,
character. Little
microtransactions.
exactly. There's
Yeah,
plenty of ways to monopolize these games. It doesn't just have to be a $60 price tag
yeah,
and another $50 season pass. You know.
I know. I mean, I've honestly spent $5 on Jetpack Joyride, and that game's free.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
well, speaking of the PlayStation Network purchases, Sony unfortunately also said that the purchases that we currently have on the PS3 or the Vita are not going to be transferable to the PlayStation 4. So any games on demand that you have on your PS3 or PlayStation Minis, anything like that that you have, they won't be able to be played on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah. Another bummer, but hey, what can you do? More reasons to keep your PS3.
Yeah, and I just think it's kind of crazy that they're turning into this digital focus. Everybody's kind of turning into digital just because it saves money making the physical retail disc and all that. But for me not being able to carry over all my digital purchase from the past 6 years, that kind of turns me off of digital.
Yeah,
Because if
it's
I had a physical copy of that game, then I wouldn't have to. Well, I'd still have to worry because I won't play PS3 games either. But you know what I mean?
no, I hear you. The main selling point for digital downloads is its convenience. You don't have to worry about driving up to a store and buying it and then putting the disc inside the machine. But the fact that you're not letting people take their purchases into your new system, that's a huge deterrent from digital sales.
Yeah,
Um, but like I said, that's their decision. Hopefully down the line they change it and allow you to stream those digitals, or maybe allowed you to re-download those games onto the PlayStation 4. Because I mean, theoretically, if you buy a digital game, Sony has records of that purchase, and if you transfer over your PlayStation ID to the PlayStation 4, then why can't you just let me re-download these games that I bought? It's crazy. Makes no
yeah.
sense. But what can you do? Um,
We can only hope.
go ahead.
We can only hope that they kind of see the error in their ways and just kind
Hopefully,
of figure something out.
definitely,
I
yeah,
mean, it's better than Nintendo's download service, that's for sure.
yeah. Poor
Because I mean, I
Nintendo.
can't tell you how many times I've bought games on the Wii that I just lose. So
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane that you we're okay with this in a way.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah. Let's talk about the games. They
right,
surprised us. They had quite a few games to show off.
yeah.
Any games you want to talk about first? Any of them catch your eye?
Um, well, we can go ahead and get this Destiny talk out of the way real quick. Basically, I mean, it's nothing new that we've seen. They basically just told us that Destiny is going to release on the PlayStation 4 um, a
No.
simultaneous release, and it's going to have exclusive digital content for the Sony platform. I don't know. Did they say that's?
What?
Yeah, I know. Did they say that's a PS4 exclusive or PS3 or both?
They said it was for the PlayStation community.
Okay, so we'll just assume both. As far as what that is, I mean, we've seen enough reservation premiums for games now that we can just say it'll be an extra weapon skin or character outfit or speeder skin or something that not really going to change the game a whole lot.
I
Um,
mean, it doesn't really
but
what it is, but way to slap Microsoft in the face.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess Bungie was tired of their shackles for the past 10 years, and they're getting some freedom, so they're just going to side with Sony on this next 10 years.
That's insane. I mean, the only way I could see them not slapping Microsoft in the face if when Microsoft announced their new system and they bring up the Destiny team and they're like, "Oh yeah, we have
Exclusive Xbox
exclusive
content,
Xbox con." Yeah, that's the only way.
and then it'll just be a hardware war again.
Yep. But
I mean, we've seen that plenty of times with the different games, like Assassin's Creed does that now, where you can only get stuff on the PS3. But
and like you said, it's nothing. It's nothing really that changes the game, but still, it's extra content. It's that extra shotgun that it's like, oh, I could have used that, but now I can't because I
yeah,
bought it for the Xbox. But whatever. Um, what else?
um, Watch Dogs. We've seen that some of that information from E3 last year. We now know that it's going to come out for all home consoles. That includes Wii U and PlayStation 4. As far as the difference between the PlayStation 4 and the current generation systems, like Wii U, 360, and PS3, I don't know how much of a graphical leap that's going to be. It'll be interesting to see if that new processor and everything's and more RAM is going to really drive that game to the next level. I mean, I remember when the current generation came out. I mean, you could look at games that came out for PS2 and PS3, and it was a huge difference. I mean, just with the sports games like Madden, you could tell it was like night and day. So I'm wondering if Watch Dogs is going to have that same kind of feel.
Agreed. And it's interesting to point out that the Watchdog, all the gameplay video of Watchdog that we've been watching, that no pun intended, but all that gameplay has been running on a PC. We have yet to
Yeah,
see this game play on a next generation console or on a current generation console. It's all
and
just been PC footage.
I'd argue that the PC footage is going to be closer to the PlayStation 4
I
than it
would
would be the PlayStation 3. So
I would definitely agree with that too.
I'd like to see what it actually looks like on the current generation.
Ditto.
So,
So Activision surprised us with that Destiny digital exclusive content for the PlayStation 4 and PS3. Um, Activision's other half, Blizzard, also made a surprising appearance in this PlayStation meeting, and everybody was like, "Why is Blizzard here? What did they come here to announce? Are they gonna announce their new Titan MMO? Are they gonna bring back the Ghost game, the StarCraft Ghost game that got canceled and put back in, I don't know." But nonetheless, they came out on stage and announced Diablo III for the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 3,
yeah,
which is interesting, to say the least.
yeah. I'm assuming they'll just do a simultaneous release for that one as well.
Yeah, but it's just weird to think that Blizzard would come out with this on PS3 and PS4 and presumably not on Xbox or the next Xbox. I mean, there's no telling they might actually come out with it on the next generation Xbox and the Xbox 360. But it's weird to see a PC, a mainly PC developer, come out on the PlayStation meeting. But this may have something to do with the AMD CPU. Maybe it was easy to port it to the PlayStation 4, and then they were just like, well, if we're gonna put it on PlayStation 4, we might as well put it on the PlayStation 3, because
Yeah,
obviously the PlayStation 3 will have a larger install base than the PlayStation 4. Mind-boggling,
it's
really.
just honestly, I think it's just too bad that they waited this long. I mean, that game's almost been out
Almost
how
a year. I'd say
almost
like
a
a
year.
month.
Yeah,
Came out in, was it March or May?
yeah. So by the time it comes out, it's going to be well over a year and a half, going into 2 years. I mean, I guess there's not a large amount of people that only have consoles that wanted to play that game, and they were just like, oh, I guess I'll just never play it. Because
Yeah,
most people that really wanted to just got it on the PC anyway.
exactly. I played this game galore. I played it, loved it. I played it and hated it, and then I replayed it and loved it again. But I'm not gonna buy it for the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 3. They're not. I mean, the most they can do to this game is add in all the update that they've done for the PC version and change up the UI so that it's more console friendly.
Yeah,
I'm not looking forward to playing a 2 year old game
I
or
mean,
a year and a half year old game when this thing
the
comes out.
they do have some cool stuff going on with it though. They have a co-op mode that you can do on the same box. So if you and a friend want to play, you just two controllers and you can co-op through it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's cool. But again, like all the hardcore Diablo players have played this game to death. That's just that's just the way I see it. Because like you're saying, most console owners would already own a PC and they probably played this game.
Yeah,
I think. Going down the list, we have Square Enix. They
yeah.
were at the Sony meeting.
Surprise.
Surprise, I know. Yeah, shocker.
They're hardly ever at any Sony press stuff.
And what did they announce for the
Guess what,
PlayStation?
everybody? It's a new Final Fantasy game.
Gasp!
I
That must have been amazing.
know. Hopefully, it just doesn't take as long as 13 took to come out on the current generation.
Seriously.
Um, so, I mean, if history has taught us anything, Final Fantasy 15 will be out in 2016.
Give or take. Either that or they're just gonna cancel it
Yeah,
and then come out with Final Fantasy 16 versus.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm sure. I'm sure they've been working on this for quite a while, and I think we'll probably get this a little sooner than we expect.
hopefully.
Um,
It's just a little disappointing to see that they didn't show anything. They showed their trailer. They showed the exact same trailer for their new video game engine that they showed last year at E3, and then they said that this year at E3 they're actually going to show off the new Final Fantasy game.
yeah. I credit where credit's due. I mean, they know how to throw together some CG trailers like nobody else.
That's true. Yeah. They just need to come out with these games because I mean, like you were saying, Final Fantasy 13 took forever to come out, and they announced Final Fantasy Versus or 13 Versus, and we have yet to see that game. That was
Yeah,
supposed to be a PS3 exclusive, and that game never materialized.
yeah.
And
Now
then,
we also have this other one, the Final Fantasy 13-3, Lightning's Return,
yeah,
which looks to be more of an action-focused game instead of an RPG. But
it's crazy. But I mean, then we have another huge franchise that Square Enix owns. I mean, where's Kingdom Hearts 3? That would have been like a
that's a
complete.
question people have been asking like 10 years.
Yeah, that would have. People would have, like, committed suicide if they had announced Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, they
Would have
could
been
definitely sell a ton of PlayStation 4s if they announced that as a launch title.
there would have been riots on the streets.
Yes, for sure.
I know I would definitely be picking up the PlayStation 4 had they announced Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah. Or even, I mean, honestly, they've been talking about this HD remake for a while too. I'd love to see something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Um, who's next?
Um, looks like Capcom. They this Panta Ray. That's their new engine that they're gonna be running their games on.
Yes, Panteray.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not really sure. That's a weird name.
Yeah, that is. I think in Japanese that means everything flows or ever flowing or something along those lines. I don't know Japanese, just something I heard. Um, but yeah, they all their current games have been made with the MT engine, MT something or another. So it's interesting to see that they built a new engine for the next generation system to come out with a new game. That
Have they
go on.
announced any specific games that they're gonna be doing?
They
I
announced
guess.
Deep Down. It's a working title.
Okay.
And they had a trailer for this game, and this trailer is interesting because it looked it looked completely CG, and then it had these little squares to hint that it was being played. These little user interface, like
Like a HUD element or
yeah,
something.
exactly. And it was like, oh, okay, so the character on screen is wielding a sword, so let's show the little sword icon. Oh, the character now switched to his bow, so let's have the icon switch to the bow. And it's like, really? Do you honestly expect us to believe that this is in-game, real-time gameplay?
I mean, it could be.
Because if it is, it's awesome,
Yeah.
but the subtlety of that HUD doesn't. It's not very convincing. Um,
Okay.
and it's interesting. This game is interesting because it's a working title again, deep down. But when you look at it, there's a dragon, and the character in this trailer is hunting this dragon. So deep down, I think Capcom wants this to be Dragon's Dogma 2.
Or Monster Hunter,
For
whatever number they're on, 5 or 4.
so I guess it makes sense for them to make it into a new IP, or maybe they're just gonna change it when they actually have some real footage of the game. They're gonna announce, "Oh, okay, we were just playing. That game isn't Deep Down. It's actually Monster Hunter 4, or it's actually Dragon's Dogma 2." But who knows? Who knows? Um, so Sony had a few games to show off as well.
Yeah, they did.
They had some sweet looking first party titles. They announced Infamous Second Son. Um, and that's interesting because when they first showed the trailer, it didn't have Infamous on it. It was just like Second Son, and then a little bit above it, in way smaller text, it was like Infamous, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. This is like the new Infamous game, but I guess it's a new character because the character in the trailer was wielding fire and not lightning. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not too familiar with the Infamous storyline. I played the first one. I just never got around beating it. Are you a little bit more? Um, do you know anything about the Infamous storyline?
A little bit. The guy's name was Cole
Yep,
from 1 and 2. Um, he had electric powers, and it took place in a city called Empire City, um, which is kind of like New York. It's like your generic city. Um, the new game is going to take place in Seattle,
that's pretty exciting.
which yeah, I mean it's not a fake city like they had been before. So it's actually going to be, I guess they're going to model the entire world after Google Maps or something just to get that realism to it. Something like we've seen in Assassin's Creed. And it takes place 7 years after the second game. It's a brand new character. Other than that, I haven't really seen a ton about it. I'm sure at E3 we're going to get a lot more information though.
Definitely, yeah. I think this E3 is going to be incredibly exciting. And then the other Sony game. is Killzone. They announced a new Killzone game, Shadowfall, and this is one of this. I think this was the only game that they had in their event that you could confidently say they were playing this at the event. I mean, you're still never 100% sure because it's not you actually playing it, but they had a dude up there with the controller and he was looking at a screen, and it seemed to play like a game.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, the graphics they look amazing. Um,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
mean, it just from what I saw, I mean, it looked like the system can render a lot more at once
yeah,
instead of just faking what's in the background or what's behind you or whatever. It looks like everything's rendered as you see it, and you can
draw.
actually go to where you're looking, and it's not just a kind of a painting on the back splash of wherever you're at.
Yeah, it's no longer a background that's drawn in, like you were saying. Draw distance doesn't seem to be a problem with this system because they had buildings in the background that you could tell were actually there, and the game looks phenomenal. Um, Besides that, it's just another Killzone game. I mean, you play as a soldier and you're running around killing people, and nothing really exciting happens. But then there are some cinematics that, like in the trailer, the dude jumps, is chasing after some airplane or some futuristic jet, and he jumps off and grabs the ropes and starts shooting the guy inside with his pistol. Um, so it all looks really action and looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, and the
Uh,
other Killzone games did a good job of. I mean, it's got a really good story. The gunplay's fun. The weapons are neat, and the enemies kind of cool. Honestly, I always saw Killzone as Sony's version of Halo,
yeah,
and
definitely.
it's not as floaty, I guess. That's the best way to describe Halo's gravity, I guess. And Killzone has that more gritty Call of Duty feel to it, and I think that's where a lot of people have kind of gone in the past few years, anyway. So, and it's definitely a good game, and this new one looks like it'll be a great addition to Sony's library.
Yeah, I really like the weapon designs in this game. The weapons look really futuristic and really meaty and powerful. And they looked awesome. Like whenever the guy had to switch his gun to his secondary mode, it turned into like a sniper of sorts, and the actual weapon kind of like physically changed a bit, and it looked pretty awesome.
Yeah,
And then at the end of the trailer, they showed, if I remember correctly, they showed some of that sharing aspect where he just pushed the button on the controller and the PlayStation 4 UI came up, and I think he posted that video on Ustream or something. So yeah,
yeah, and I mean another thing that they're going to be doing with these games too is the Vita functionality. So not only are you going to be able to share these videos on Ustream, but you should be able to stream them to your Vita and be able to play them there as well.
yeah, and that's pretty awesome. They were talking about having that second screen experience where if somebody wants to watch TV while you're playing on your PlayStation 4, you can pick up your game right where you left off on your Vita. And they're striving to make every PlayStation 4 game to have that functionality. So I'm sure developers would have to obviously make it work, but it's interesting that they want every single game to have that functionality. Uh,
Yeah, and when I mean when you look at stuff like the Wii U, I mean the Wii U is already doing this now with games like Call of Duty.
yeah, and the new
And
Super Mario U.
yeah, exactly. And I think if developers follow that same pattern that they're using now with the Wii U, it shouldn't be. I don't know. I'm not a game developer, but it shouldn't be too difficult to kind of use that same pattern.
Definitely, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they had a Zombie U game come out for the PlayStation 4 that utilized the PlayStation Vita as a second screen experience. But I mean, it's interesting that the system is great. I mean, it has the horsepower, and they have the games. But it's interesting to see that they didn't come out with anything really new and innovating. I mean, the new PlayStation Eye is basically a Kinect with a higher resolution camera and more functionality, and then they're trying to copy the Wii U with the second screen experience utilizing the PlayStation Vita. The only real thing they introduced was the whole sharing of your games, um, which is fine. I mean, mainly we're going to be using the system to play games. Um, I just, I almost wish there was something else.
That's what E3 is for.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? What did you want to see? Did you see everything? Like, is everything on the PlayStation 4 what you expected?
No,
No. What did you want?
honestly, I know everybody always says that. I mean, they want backwards compatibility, and I never really thought about it as a big deal until now, especially with the PlayStation Network account stuff, because I've spent hundreds of dollars on the PSN buying games, and if I'm not going to be able to transfer those over to the new console, I I just don't want to lose that money. I guess I can always keep a PlayStation 3, but at that point, I'm going to have five consoles sitting on my entertainment center, so it'll be kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. I mean, I'm not so big on the whole playing your PlayStation 3 games on the PlayStation 4, but I mean, the fact that I can't play my digital games on the PlayStation 4 is a huge bummer. I definitely
yeah,
agree with that.
and I mean, I think if they can stream PS4 games to the Vita, I don't see why I can't do that same kind of thing with my PS3 games on my Vita. Even games like Journey for the Vita, I think would be amazing. I'd love to play that game on my handheld.
Yeah, but I mean, they made a decision. They made a decision to cut ties with the PS3. They're gonna be focusing on the PlayStation 4. So why why keep announcing features and this, that, and the other for the PlayStation 3 when you got this new system with all this new technology that they're working on?
Yeah, I I guess we'll just have to wait and see what comes out of E3. Um, I'm interested to see what the console itself looks like. I know that really doesn't matter too much because we already know what's on the inside, but I mean, it's still cool seeing new hardware, and I just like to see what it looks like. So
Yeah, it'd be nice to know what we're shelling out hundreds of dollars towards.
exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Um,
So did you are
I
you happy with what happened, or did you expect some more out of it?
I expected. I don't know. I don't know if I'm not disappointed. I'm definitely impressed with the console. It's a powerful beast. I'm a little disappointed in the games. I didn't see any games that blew my mind away. The Killzone looked awesome, but it's not like, when they first unveiled the PlayStation 3, all the games were like, holy crap. When that Fight Night demo rolled and the two boxers were just punching themselves in the face, and you can see like the sweat and the blood, just like literally the shockwave of their like flesh like moving. That kind of stuff was like, okay, you know, this is a next generation leap. Like,
Yeah,
there's a reason to buy this system. I kind of got that impression with Killzone. It looked amazing, fantastic, but that was it. None of the other games really like, holy crap, I need to
nothing
get
felt
this
like a
system.
huge leap.
Yeah. So I guess I wanted to see more games that just like blew my socks off.
Yeah,
But yeah, like you said, I guess we'll have to wait for E3 and hope for the best.
yeah. I'm sure they've got some stuff they're holding back on because I know Microsoft's getting ready. They're just waiting for the right time, I guess. And I'm sure after Microsoft announces their big thing, Sony will come back and be like, "Well, you know what? We decided to share some other stuff with you guys." So
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll happen.
that'll be another podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, are you, based on what you know right now, are you gonna get a PlayStation 4?
No.
No.
No, I'm not
Uh,
going to get one.
all
I'm
right.
happy with the PS3 for now. And it's just that backwards compatibility as far as the PSN stuff that kind of throws me off.
Yeah, I'd agree. Had they had that PlayStation Network backwards compatibility, it would make my buying decision a little bit easier. But as it stands, I don't think I'll be purchasing one either. I'm really interested in this PlayStation Vita functionality with the PlayStation 4,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm just overall I'm on the fence, but I'm not I'm not there yet. Hopefully E3 will change my mind.
Yeah. And I'm sure a price point would help us decide too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, definitely. But we know the system is going to be coming out this holiday season. I'd imagine if I had to make a prediction, I would say the second Sunday of November. Um, and yeah,
Yes.
think
I think that's the prime time to release a new console because that's when everybody's starting to run out of money, but they're not quite there, and Black Friday's right around the corner.
yeah, and I should be specific. I'd say the second Sunday of November for the U.S. Possibly earlier, possibly later for Japan and Europe, but November is a huge shopping season for the states.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be a good place to stop. Thank you guys for joining us with the Unreliable Studio podcast. I am Pedro, and that was
Hey, I'm
Josh.
Josh.
And we should have these more regularly. We do appreciate comments, so definitely leave some comments and please subscribe and check out our Twitter. What's our Twitter again? Is it
Um, it's at Reliable Studio.
at Reliable Studio? Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
We also have a Facebook page
Yeah, check out our Facebook page
and Google Plus.
and Google Plus.
And you can always email us too. It's unreliablestudio@gmail.com. If you
Most,
have any kind of questions or comments, anything you want to let us know about, or anything you'd like to hear about it here on the show, just let us know.
yes, please give us comments. Please, 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 please. But again, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.